She goes, but this is a blood temple. Some people's attached to cars, money, their property, their business. He said all the time, it's okay to have nice things, but don't become attached to it. You could lose it tomorrow. If you lose it tomorrow, you don't get upset. I've been there, own car. I've been there. You just look at life at that time and you say, I'm going to build it better. I'm going to build it bigger with God's help. Now, so I was starting to go through the penance. Now, the penance is that. Go ahead.
So you still had the government contract or job going on, or you had to?
I just got done with the government project.
Okay.
But I started other companies.
So
I had to do that within a 4-hour window during the day.
Right.
So I had people out there working, but I'd monitor, look at the paperwork and everything.
Okay.
Now, in the morning, started at 4:30 in the morning. 5 hours devotion in the morning. And it's a serious devotion. Then I went to work. And then right after work, I got down there by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then my training is from 3 to 8. And then I would drive back. And this went on for 10 years. Now, it got to the point to where I was introduced to energies. That was the next thing. And the one thing that he always taught me, some people pray to God. Some people say, I should be this. I wish I was this. Could I be this? He said, just be. Just be. And you will become. So I started applying that to my life. And when I applied it to my life, things got simpler. Part of the training, which is the hardest part, after you detach, you got to remain humble. You're no better than anyone else. And then we went through the process of not letting things bother you. And this is when he taught me Taoism. So Taoism is an ancient art from China, Tibet. And Taoism is where you do not try to control everything in your life. Your life is like a pendulum and a grandfather clock. And he says, watch people. Most people will swing clear to the right. They're angry. Or they'll swing clear to the left momentarily. They're happy. He said, you should remain balanced. In everything you do, you remain balanced. You remain calm. When a situation comes up, don't let it go inside here. You meet it at a distance. And just take care of the situation. When people come, how many times on cars somebody come up to you and say, do you know what that guy said? You know what that neighbor did to this neighbor? Well, he taught me, and everybody hears me today. I'll say, who cares? That don't apply to me. That's gossip. Gossip is a sin. You do not entertain negative talk. You do not entertain negative thoughts. When somebody comes up to you and they're upset, you don't get upset. What did he teach me at the beginning? Listen. So I did. Now, during this intermediate time period, I went to the Ganesh Utsav. This was at the early age of this time period.
Around what year?
The second year.
No, but like in the 90s, early 2000s.
Late 90s.
Late 90s.
So I went to the Ganesh Utsav. And I knew the pundit. And so we went in there. We sat down. And Omkar, I started to sweat. Omkar, I'm not talking a normal sweat. It was like I was in a shower. And I'm like, something is going wrong. So I went outside, stopped. And I went back in. And these were the energies that my guru was trying to tell me about. But then I still didn't quite understand. After the third night, it stopped. On the fourth night, we went in, and there was a yearning inside me, a yearning. Omkar, it's stronger than a child wanting a piece of candy. It was real strong. So I told my wife at the time, there's something inside. I would like to be one of the 4 to carry Ganesh into the water. She laughed. She said, see all them pundits up there? They've already decided who's going to be where and whatever. I said, no, it's just a feeling. Right?
But let's put some context to it, right? So anybody there knew you as being a student of your guru or any?
I always kept this hidden.
Right.
I always believe that the teacher and student should have a bond.
Right.
It should not be an advertisement.
Okay.
I'm very strict on that. Like, you've met my students, and we do not advertise it. He just went on TV once to give why he wanted to do what he was doing. But, so, on the 5th night, the Swami came in from Canada. And he was sitting up front, and I'm sitting in the back. And he turned around, and he watched me, and he comes straight to me. He introduced himself, and he said, I don't know why I'm asking you, but would you like to be one of the 4 to carry Lord Ganesh? So the night before is when I had that yearning. So things started to fall in place. I said, well, yes, I'd love to. Then other little events happened. But at the end of the Utsav, I helped carry. But the Swami again was instrumental. He told the pundit, put me in the front left. So when he did, when I reached down to touch Lord Ganesh, it felt like a lightning bolt going through my body. I went down to my knees, and we weren't even picking up yet. And so I tried to compose myself back up. And when I got home that night, remember, I had to sleep in separate bedrooms because I'm in the penance. So when I was laying down, started to sink in bed. And then I felt something come around me and hug me. I called my guru right away because I'm like, what is this? And he just laughed. And he said, Ganesha just blessed you. So Omkar, this is how it went. The next day, I got a phone call to be invited to another temple. And when I went into that temple, I finally found it. And when I drove up, remember, I was new at this at the beginning. And I told my wife at that time, I said, this don't look like no temple. She goes, this is a Shakti temple. I said, what's that? And she said, this is where they give offerings to Mother and the masters and things like this. She goes, but this is a blood temple. And I said, they give blood? She said, yes. And she goes, we'll stay here on the edge by the road, and when the people that invited you come, we'll just tell them, it's just not our cup of tea, but thank you. They never came, Omkar. They never came.